On top of the envelope, I'll write each of your addressees' names, different addresses to whom I am sending it. Clear? The writer's signature comes first, then name in block letters, at the end, designation. Increase the visual appeal of your notice by using bold letters, catchy slogans, striking words and phrases, etc. The name of the organization or the institution on behalf of which the notice is being issued. Hello and a very warm welcome to your prep school English classes. I'm your English teacher, Kshama. In this session today, we are going to talk about your creative writing skills. Yes. So what are there in this session? Without wasting any time, let's discuss, shall we? So we have to talk about the formats and the things to keep in mind whilst you're writing a notice. Let's dig deeper and understand what are the things that we must keep. Now that when you have the format handy and when you keep practicing, it's not like at the nth moment you'll have to sit down and see where should I write the date, where should I put a signature and all that, right? So let's get all the doubts clarified over here. Then you'll have to write a formal or an informal invitation. I'm sure you would have seen invitations of lectures, invitations of exhibitions, birthdays, okay? And you would have categorized which one is formal, which one is informal, right? So let's see how to write or how to form a formal or informal invitation. What is the language that should be used in it and what are the appropriate words according to the types, okay? Then we'll have to talk about the formal and informal reply. How do you reply to that via letter format, okay? Then we shall also see some of the practical examples so as to clarify all your doubts. Then moving forward, let's start with your notice. Although we have discussed about it, let's dig deeper and let's just have the format right out there. This is the format that has been prescribed by CBSE itself, okay? So when you start writing a notice, that is the first question in your section B, creative writing skills, the first question that you will see is about notice writing. You would have asked to write a notice. Clear? So the first thing, or most of the details would have been given in the questions itself. But then what do you have to pick out? The first thing you have to pick out is what is the name of the organization or the institution that is conducting this program. A notice is what? Notice is to bring, catch people's attention, to bring it to the notice of people, okay? So to inform them, notice is used. That's not something new. That's not something I'll have to tell you about, right? You have been looking at all the wall posters and notices. However, what does it include? It includes first up, the name of the organization or the institution on behalf of which the notice is being issued. It could be a company, it could be an educational institution, anything it could be. We'll take up some other examples and see. So name of the institution in all caps, done. That's the first thing you have to do. Then your readers or your audience should know that this is a notice and not a letter or anything else that you have written. Hence, you must, totally write it out there and let it be out there that it is a notice. So in all caps, all block letters, you will write notice, N-O-T-I-C-E. That is also done. Once when you're done with A and B, move on to the C, which is date. Now, you might think this is the date of the event whenever it is happening or the meeting, whatever that is coming up. No, wrong. It is the date in which you are writing this particular notice or when this notice is being issued. Imagine if today I am giving this notice, the date would be 22/6/2023. Okay, that will be the notice or the first date that you have to write. Next up, let's come to the heading. So first line you have written the name of the institution. Then second line you have written notice. Third line you have written the date when the notice is being written. Okay. Then you can also write it in the second line, the next line, following line. You have to write the heading. Now what is a heading? It could be, a yoga day celebration. So there will be a theme of yoga. It could be a lecture. It could be about a holy festival that is going to happen. Whatever the subject is, you put it as a heading or a title. Okay, you can also create catchy headings. If the heading is given there, good and well and good. Okay, but if the heading is not given, you create a catchy caption or a heading by yourself and put it out there. That is, it should be very attractive. It should grab the reader's attention. Then you give us the details. Now, what are the details? In one line, you are going to write what is this notice, what is the purpose of this notice, why is this notice served to you, or what does it want to inform you about. So what's the event about in a line or two? A notice is never a paragraph, more than 2 or 3 lines. It should be just 1 or 2 lines on a certain day. Say for instance, this you'll be mentioning it here. So renowned yoga guru or a renowned professor, renowned writer is going to conduct a seminar on the topic of literary criticism, something like that. So one line, the whole thing is over. You keep it short and crisp. Done? Now when we are done with that, you start with, so this is C, let's keep this as D. Let's move on to E. E is a bunch of things together. E includes D, T and V. Date of the event. When is this event going to happen? For example, it might happen somewhere in July 20th. So July 20th, I will write it here. So here it goes, July 20th, 2023. Okay. So this is the date of the event. That is done. Then the time, for example, the event's time is 9 a.m. I'll write it here. Venue, where is it happening? It might be happening, say for instance, in your auditorium, in the library, in the hall, wherever. So venue is the place. So E includes date, time and venue. Clear? Next up, everything to the left hand corner over here. So when you wrote this one, this is at the middle if you want to know the position of things. Name of the organization, center. Notice, center. Date of today's, whenever you are giving the invitation, that should be at the left corner, okay, in your margins space. Then you give 2 spaces and start writing. Your heading is also at the center. D is at the, after 2 spaces you can start, and then these things also either you can start at the left hand corner or the margin or after 2 spaces, that you can do. However, the signature, name and designation must be, underline, must be at the left hand corner, which is your, after your margin. So which is, you put a signature, tiny signature. If the name is given, you are so and so, you are Dilip, you are Kavya. If your name is given over there, write the same name. Whoever is, you are president of the students club, imagine, and your name is Dilip or Kavya. So you would have, if you're Dilip, you will have to write Dilip, or if you want to write Kavya, you can write Kavya. Put a signature, name and your designation. You're president of the student club. On behalf of what you're writing, what is your position, mention it there. So I hope the format of the notice is clear. So this one we'll keep it as F. So A is name of the organization, all caps, center, first line. Second line, B, notice, all caps in the center. And we have C, which is the date of when the notice is being issued, which is at the left hand corner, okay, or after the margin. Then if you come to the, in the same line or in the next line, you'll find at the center the heading of the notice. What is this about? Later on in the next line, which is E, you'll find D is over, what's the event about? E, you'll find D, T, V, date, time and venue. If in the notice or in the question, the date and time is given, the venue is not given, you as a students club, you have the liberty to guess the venue and write any venue. Okay. So if you want to add any additional tips or additional note, you can also write a note at the end over here. After the DTV, after E, you can also write something called as a note and start writing whatever the note that you have. Imagine for yoga day, you might have a note as such, you know, carry comfortable clothing or wear comfortable clothing in which you can perform some of the asanas, or, you know, a note saying students will not be allowed after the time that has been given. Or you can say these many things. Only 11th and 12th standard students are allowed. If it's like a career guidance program notice, you can say only 11th and 12th students are allowed. Such note can also be included in this notice. Okay. So this is how it is. I hope this is clear. Moving forward, what are the things to keep in mind? A, the name of the organization issuing the notice. That's the first thing. Title, notice, we are done with that. A heading to introduce the subject of the notice. The date of issuing, when you're issuing the notice. Then the body of the notice. After that, body of the notice will also include D, T, V. I'm sure you're acquainted with it by now. Date, time and venue. Okay, you can also include a little note at the end. The writer's signature comes first. Then name in block letters. At the end, designation. Okay, you can't write your designation first. You are who you are, your name is your identity, and then comes your designation. So signature, name, designation. Clear? Moving forward, is there anything else that you need to keep in mind? Let's have a quick glance, shall we? So if you ever heard of the 5 wives, you might have heard of the 5 W's in 1 H. That's what we are talking about. By 5 wives, I mean. So what is going to happen? Your notice should cover all these things. What is going to happen? If it is the event, what is the event about? That will be, your heading will be talking about it, right? So where will it take place? Venue. Okay. When will it take place? Be it the date and time. When will it take place? Date. Let's keep the date of the event. That is the date and the time. Who can apply or who is eligible? In the note, you might have written only 11th and 12th students can participate in this career guidance program, or the rest of them can't. Some of that can also be included. Whom to contact or apply to, that is the issuing authority. For example, if you have to contact someone, imagine there is a competition or something going on, and you'll have to contact the coordinator or contact head of the department. Something like that can also be included in your notice. So only the most important points need to be included. It should be crisp, clear, brief, and not an elaborated letter. So AOD is any other detail that is given in the question. If it is mentioned in the question, do make sure to include it in your notice, okay? Something like whom to contact or whom to apply to. For example, if you're interested in participating something, you can contact so and so. That can also be given. Liberty to add any relevant information and not include which is not included in the question. If the venue is not given or if the time is not mentioned, you can take the liberty to mention it there, because it is mandatory. This notice should inform what, where, when, and who, right? Then the sentences should be short, but although you have been asked to keep the sentences short, that does not mean you can take the liberty to make it grammatically incorrect. Okay, the sentences should be complete but short. Okay, keep that in mind. The final note for the notice should be in the passive voice as far as possible, and not the direct voice can't be used. So this particular organization is conducting all of those things as though you are saying it on behalf of somebody, and you can't write I am conducting so and so. Okay, it is this particular literary club is organizing a fest, and hence everybody has been asked to participate. Okay, you have to participate. You can't write like that. Direct voice can't be used. Use a passive voice. Then should be presented within a box. This is also a mandatory thing. Okay, so whenever a notice is written, you have to, let's keep it as A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, your box over here is a mandatory thing. People should know that. How do you differentiate it from a letter? So there are features that differentiate it from a letter, and you have to put a box like this in order to make sure that this is a notice. Okay, I'm glad I did not skip on that one. Okay, so word limit is somewhere around 40 to 50 words as prescribed by CBSE. Only the words in the body of the notice is counted. You might say, ma'am, okay, if I count all the name of the institution, if I count notice and everything, then it adds up to more than 55. What do I do about it? Don't worry about it. It's just the body of the letter that counts. After the heading, you start writing about what is this event about. That should not exceed more than 50 words. Be careful about that. Information given in a notice must be clear, should not cause any blunders or confusions, misunderstanding. A notice must be catchy and appealing. When it's heading, there is, where you have the liberty to take, and you can take liberty and show your creativity in the catchy phrase that you can use to attract readers' attention. Okay. And increase the visual appeal of your notice by using bold letters, catchy slogans, striking words and phrases, etc. Okay. You can make people interested in your notice by all of these things. You can use bold letters in order to highlight or emphasize who is organizing it, what's the thing that is being, a literary fest might have been organized, or it could be a food fest that is being organized. All of these things can be happening. Now, how do you make it catchy? You can use a slogan. You can use, if in the question it is very plain, then you can take the liberty to add catchy slogans, striking words and phrases to make it even more appealing. So standard abbreviations are allowed. Okay, you can use standard abbreviations, include USA, United States of America. These are abbreviations we have been using it's universally generally accepted. Okay, those kind of abbreviations can be used. Next up, these are some of the kinds or templates of notices. Other than that, just in general, if you'd want to look around. So for meetings, we are kind of going beyond your notice writing and trying to look at a couple of things. So lost and found notice will include these many things. If it is a meeting, it would definitely include date, time, venue, agenda of the meeting, purpose of the meeting, what are we going to discuss about, and who is supposed to attend. Imagine you get into a company after this. You might ask, ma'am, who are we going to send this notice to? Why are you making us to write it? When you go out there in the world and you start working, these are the things that are mandatory. These become a part of your day-to-day living and day-to-day activities. So who to attend, contact address, specific instructions. So a meeting notice will include all of this. And a lost and found notice will include what is the article that has been lost, what is the date or time or place whenever it was found, identification, or if it has been lost, when was it lost? What was the date, time, and place where you lost, for example, your mobile phone? And what are the identification marks? What is the kind of mobile? How does it look? And any other details if you can give of you've lost a puppy, how does it look? Whom to contact, when to contact, and where and when to meet. So a lost and found will include all those things. Then there are a couple of more examples. So there is events. Also, if you're giving an invite for an event, it would include definitely name of the organization committee, whatever the committee that is organizing it, a literary club, a math club, any of the clubs or the organization that is conducting this event. Date, what's the occasion? Okay, is it National Math Day or is it National Science Day? Whatever that is happening. Time, when who can all, get in the eligibility. Contact address, specific instructions if you want to add. Then there is exhibition, tours, camps. These kind of notices will include name and nature or kinds of exhibition that is happening. Art exhibition, science exhibition. Occasion, what's the occasion, on behalf of what it is happening? Why is it special that it is happening now? Time, date, objective, information about this invitation. Who is it trying to appeal? Entry fees, time duration, contact address, specific instructions, do's and don'ts. Then moving forward, let's take up an example. I had promised you that we will take up an example and we will work together. Okay. So the residents, this is a question. Okay. The Residents Welfare Association. What's the first thing you found over here? A is here. What is A? A is the name of the organization or the committee. That is A we have found already. A is in our basket. Residents Welfare Association is here to conduct something that we got to know. Green Park, that's the, whole address. So you can add that as well. Residents Welfare Association, Green Park is organizing a holy fiesta. What's your heading then? Now you did not find, you can write B. B is notice. You know that it is notice writing. Residents Welfare Organization, B is notice. C is your date. Whenever you are writing it, for example, today I'll write, so it is 22nd, 6, 2023. I'll write it. Later on, I'll have to move to D. D is what? D is my heading. So where's the heading? Heading, I'll keep it as Holy Fiesta. So Residents Welfare Association done. Notice I've written. Okay, after notice, what did I find? The date when I am writing it, I wrote it. Notice is done. D, I'll write Holy Fiesta. That is my heading. Okay, I'm not going to take anything else. I'll keep it as Holy Fiesta. Then in the locality, as the president, what you have to write? You have to write a notice, president of the association, draft a notice in not more than 50 words informing the residents about the same. So you see that the date is not given, time is not given, okay? So you'll have to do it by yourself. If you want to add anything, you'll have to add it by yourself. Let's see how we can write a notice to this one. Now, this is how the notice looks like. Box is there, check. So let's see if we have covered everything. First up, the Residents Welfare Association is name of the organization. So A is here, done. B, notice, I've written. All bold letters you can write or you can highlight it, but mostly keep it all bold letters. Then today's date, or this is the date when the notice was published. Let's keep it as C. No, this is C. And D, the heading is here. This is also done. The Residents Welfare Association, pay attention to this one, is organizing a holy bash in the colony as per the following details. So this is only one whole sentence. Everything is clear over here. The Residents Welfare Association of what? Of Green Park. You can write Green Park as well. Organizing a holy bash. You know what they are organizing, who is organizing. In the colony itself, where they are organizing and what are the details. Let's check out the details, shall we? So D, E is done. Let's move on to F, which is date. Date is on February 17th, 2007. So see that 10 January, it is the date when the notice is being issued. And the event is on 17th February, much ahead. Then time 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Venue Green Park Club. We got that from the question that was given to us. So F is also over. Now there is an additional information that they have added. You can also put note or you can just put the information. What's the additional information? A, O, D. The residents are requested to come along with their families and friends and add colors to the rejoicings. Now this is not something that was given in the question, was it? So you can make it appealing, you can add extra information, appropriate information that is not given in your question that is given for notice. You can add appropriate information to make it sound just right. So the notice has asked them to come with their families and friends. That is appealing, quite catchy. And the words such as color to the rejoicings, it's about the holy bash and it has been described very beautifully. Right? It is catchy and we would want to go to a holy bash like this if anyone invites us anytime. So then you see the sign. Okay, the sign is not here. It has been just given like that. Sign, name, President RWA, which is Residents Welfare Association. There is a short form that has been written. So President of, this is also done. Sign, name, clear. I hope this example was clear. If there's another example, tiny little example if you'd want to look at. On the occasion of National Science, so we got the occasion, National Science and Technology Day, the school has decided to organize a science fair. So on the occasion of the National Science and Technology Day, we have a science fair going on, 2 informations, got it. Then Vikram, the secretary of the Science Society, wants to call a meeting of the office bearers of the society. Vikram is the secretary. We got the name and his position is Secretary of the Science Society. We also got that to discuss and arrangements for the fair, whatever the arrangement that needs to be done. So write a notice in about more than not exceeding 50 words. So it's the name of the school is not given, hence you can write your own name of the school or whatever that you want to decide with. So Delhi Public School, New Delhi, this is done. Notice is done. B, date of notice being issued, that is also done. Meeting of Science Society. You can ABCD. So you can write National Science and Technology Day also because that is also a major subject. On behalf of that only you are conducting a science fair or requirements for the science fair. You can also write meeting of Science Society. So what they might not get to know, oh, is it about the National Science and Technology Day? What? Is it about the science fair? Then meeting regarding the organization of science fair. So you can decide what heading you want to put. Starts like this, on the occasion of National Science and Technology Day, there's comma over here. The school has decided to organize a fair. That is also given. All office bearers are requested to attend meeting in the school library on 16th April 2005 at 10 p.m. to discuss the arrangements for the fair. Although it only has 2 sentences, here you also need to notice the fact that date, time and venue has been included in the sentence. That way can also be done. However, I would request you to write the date, time and venue separately because that would make your notice very clear. They can just look at it and find the details very quickly. This is also one of the board has only given body of the letter will have details. So date, time and venue, that is the way you can organize it. One of the ways where you can organize it. However, you can also write it like this, where you have given it over here, 16th April 2005 at 10 p.m. discuss the arrangements for the fair. Purpose is also done. This sign, name and his position, Secretary of the Science Society. So I've shown you 2 ways of how you can put the details, particularly over here in this section, body of the notice. Then the box is also here. You can't complain about that with me. I hope that is clear. Next up, let's move on to the formal invitations. In your board syllabus or the content, we have received the formal invitation and informal reply. So there are chances of you getting a formal invitation that you have to write and an informal reply. So however, we are going to learn both how to write a formal invitation and informal invitation. What's the major difference between them? And a formal reply and an informal reply. Okay, let's waste no time and understand. When you're writing a formal invitation, I'm sure you have seen it. I'm going to show you one of them as well. So it should have single sentence presentation, but in a third person perspective. The narration will be in third person. You will not write I, you, second person, first person and second person. You will write, for example, the particular college name. Okay. this Delhi public school is conducting so and so, and kindly request you. So it is in the third person narration. Printed invitation cards, you have seen them. It will not be in a letter format, it will be in an invitation format where you'll have who is conducting it, what is the event about, much like a notice, however. And let's see what is the difference over here. Okay, then birthday, weddings and inauguration of shops, houses. So sometimes they are formal, sometimes they are informal. We have seen mostly birthdays and weddings will have informal invitation cards. Weddings will be much more formal, however. Then answer keys: to whom, when, where, what time, 5 W's. Okay, the occasion, what is the invitee's name, as well as invitee is the one who is inviting you, and the host, date, time, venue, everything will be there in the invitation card. Okay, so the official invitation: name, designation, address of the organizer, sponsor, host, all of these will be included. Let's not talk too much theory and let's understand what it is, shall we? So the printed formal invitations don't include the name of the addressee sometimes, but if it is for the particular VIP that we are writing, it will definitely include the VIP's name, will be printed on it. Sometimes imagine your a couple of wedding invitations that we receive, it will not have your names printed in it because it has to go to multiple people, right? It's printed for the mass. Hence, your name will not be printed in it, and people sometimes have to write it on top of it. But in the case of invitation to VIPs, their name will be printed in it. Okay, or function do carry the name of VIP prominently. Invitations to VIP to preside over a function. If you're asking a VIP to be the head of this function or to preside over this function, then it must carry, it is addressed to him, it should carry the VIP's name. So the length of this, according to the CBSE guidelines, is 50 words in this one as well. Let's look at the formal letters and what it should include. Generally, the layout should include the name of the hosts who are hosting an event. Invitation, you are inviting people to come for an event or come for something, to attend something, right? So what is it about? Who is organizing it first? Name of the host, name of the invitee in case of formal letters of invitation. If it is, I am asking you to be a judge for the literary fest, for any of the fests or for any of the functions, then it should include your name. It should say that kindly so-and-so, please we request you to head over this function or preside over this function. It should include your name, invitee's name. Formal phrase of invitation, for example, request the pleasure. So it should be very formal. Formal invite should have formal language, correct? So you can't use informal, salutations or words like dear. All those can't be used. So you have to start with formal phrase of invitation: request the pleasure of your benign presence, or company to seek your auspicious presence, solicit your gracious presence on the auspicious occasion. So you see the sophisticated words that are being included in this when you're writing a formal invitation, isn't it? So the date, time and venue, this is also casual, prominent in this one. Formal invitation, the occasion or reason of the invitation. So keep the language formal and start with "we cordially invite you." This is a formal invitation, and you can't say you'll get to know once when we move to the informal invitation, how is it little different from each other. So let's start with, if the invite is meant for multiple people, then obviously it will be written in third person. In case of VIP, the name of the VIP must appear prominently if there is a VIP attending this particular function and you are inviting many people. Name of the invitee is not included. Okay, if not, name of all the invitees can't be included in one card. Can it be? So no. The addressee's address is to be written only on the envelope. To whom you're sending the invitation, obviously on the envelope you will write think of a wedding invitation, formal wedding invitation or a lecture invitation. If my university is sending a lecture invitation to your place, then definitely I will have, for example, if it is some author, whoever, will just take any author, for example. If that person is giving us a lecture, then our university is sending an invitation to you. Whoever is addressing the gathering, the VIP's name will be there. But on top of the envelope, since I'm sending it to multiple universities or multiple colleges, on top of the envelope, I'll write each of your addressees' names, different addresses to whom I am sending it. Clear? That makes sense, right? So simple present tense is to be used. It So when you're writing an invitation, formal invitation card, you must use simple present tense. Okay. Then that is, you know how it is, right? I don't think I'll have to explain the simple present tense, how you'll write sentences in simple present tense as well. When we look at an invitation card, I hope it becomes clear to you. Date of writing is not to be given. How? The first point of how a notice is different from a formal invitation. We've got it. In the notice that we issue, we are writing the date when the notice is being written. It's an official document and we have to have a record of when it was issued. People might say, no, we did not receive the notice at all. Then you will be in trouble. So it is important, mandatory that the notice has the date of when it was issued. Okay. That is what is the difference between the formal invitation and notice. First one we found, there is no signature of the host. Second one, signature of the host is not there in the formal invitation. The name of the host is there at the top, but then no signature and all is required, like it is required in case of the notice. Okay. The abbreviation RSVP, French, Respondez Silver's plate, which is if you are attending this event or if you're writing an invitation, let's be on this side of the invitation. So if I am writing an invitation, I will put up this something called as RSVP. You have heard of RSVP, which is please reply. So after RSVP, I might have asked you to RSVP on my mail ID. I might have, requested you to RSVP to my mobile number. So anything as such, you put RSVP. This is also included in your formal invitation. However, in the notice, nobody asks you to put RSVP in the notice. However, if it is in the meetings of the offices, then they might ask you to put RSVP. But in the regular notice that we are dealing with, there was no RSVP column, right? So, but in the formal invitation, there is RSVP. So please reply. Written below on the left side. Here on the left side, you will see RSVP. You will see where you have to RSVP. Okay. They've asked you, please reply. Where will you reply? They would have given, something, gmail.com, or they might have given you a number to RSVP on. On the left side, with names, address, and phone number of the hosts. Do not exceed 50 words. Next up, the name of the hosts and their position will also be given in the left column. Moving forward, let's look at it. If it is meant for only one individual, if your formal invitation is meant for only one individual, most of it remains the same. However, it includes the name of the invitee. When it is subjected or if it is targeted towards one person, I will definitely, it will be printed. The name of the invitee will be there in the invitation. These are to be written on, run on lines. Sentence is not broken into words or phrases. So if you're writing it to one person, I'll show you an example of, it'll be more like a letter. From address is there, formal letter, so no dear. Hence you'll be writing, respected sir, so and so. And this is the thing that is happening. We would kindly request you to come and be the judge for our function. Thank you. These are the things that you can put up. RSVP, if you're coming or not. So and so has written this letter from this department. Okay. So if it is written only for one individual. Other details are similar to the mass scale invitations. It remains the same. However, in this one, writing for one person, you can't break it down because there is not multiple things, details that you need to inform. It is addressed to one person, so you include whatever the details that is required for one person. So this is the proper example of, I can say, the one that I found out. It has been taken courtesy of the Ambedkar University, Delhi, and this is the invitation given by them. So you see that Ambedkar University of Delhi, you see who is giving you this invitation, the one that is inviting us, that is there. A, you have to write the name of the people who are inviting you, or if you are the ones who are inviting, for example, it might include Delhi Public School, it might include the name of your school, any school for that matter, or the organization's name if they have given. Wonderful. Your formal invitation begins with who is inviting you. Question answered. Then there is a sentence. Cordially invites you to the, you see that the sentence is in the simple present tense. Invites. It's not was inviting, is inviting, right? Continuous present tense is also not there. It's invites you. Simple present tense. Ambedkar University, Delhi cordially invites you to the 11th. What is happening? What is the subject? Subject is here. So simple present tense is also done. B. Dr. Ambedkar Memorial Lecture, Ambedkar Radicalism for Our Times by. So this is the name of the lecture or the theory that is being proposed to you. It is the name of the lecture that is being given or whatever the program that is going to happen. So that is where you get B. Then by whom? Who is going to give us that? So you see these connecting words, right? Not so important part of the sentence. The font of those sentences is small. These are details that you need to pay attention to. However, whatever that is much more important has been highlighted. The font is also bigger, right? By Pratap Mehta, this is highlighted. See, by is not highlighted, but Pratap Bhanu Mehta is highlighted. Then you go on, where is he from? You write that under his name. So he's a Vice Chancellor of Ashoka University, Sonpet, Haryana. That also we got to know. So we got to know who has invited us. We are the ones who are inviting. So I have written the name of my university, cordially invites you or requests your presence. Or we could use much more things such as, let's see what and all we have over here. Request the pleasure of your benign presence, company, or seek your auspicious presence. All of these things, solicit your gracious presence. All of these things can be included. Moving forward, let's see in your invitation what else is left. So you can add much more details in the invitation. If it is additional yet very important, you can add that as well. So the lecture will be presided by the launch of conversation. All of these extra details, 10th Ambedkar Memorial Lectures, edited by Professor Valerian Rodriguez, co-published by AUD and Tulika Books. Now, you can add this if this is like the after this event, there's going to be one more tiny little event. Hence, it is not in bold letters. So it's like an additional thing. You can add that as well. So when is this happening? Bold again. You see that it is not written in one entire paragraph. The lines have been broken down. You see space over here, right? So each important thing is, one after the other, it follows, right? At the end, when is this happening? Sunday, date, time, and venue is given over here. Multipurpose Hall, India, International Center, all the details are given. Please join us for high tea at 4:30 p.m. An additional detail, also a requesting tone. So the language used is formal, all the details, all the questions one might ask. Okay, I am sending this, does it include all the 5 W's and 1 H, how, what, when, where, who? Everything it includes in a formal language, but the pattern is as such. Who, what, when and where. Then comes our most important part. I told you in the left corner, you will have RSVP, right? So you see over here, RSVP is there. I have not given you any this thing over here. You have to write the Gmail number or anything. Just write XXX where you have to RSVP. But RSVP is an important column because you are asking them to reply to this formal invite, correct? Then you see that the name of the one who is writing this formal invitation or sending you this formal invitation has also been given. It's Anu Singladar, the Vice Chancellor. I would request you to keep most of the things to the left-hand corner, but name and designation can also be on that part as well. RSVP in the left, mandatory. Then that's about your formal invitation. I hope we covered most of the things there. Then ordinary personal letters. Let's talk about the informal invitation. Informal invitation, you have seen the birthday cards and everything, right? Which would include, we are happy to celebrate this. And if it is you who are writing it, or if you're writing on behalf of your sister, brother, it could be anyone. You would say we are having a bash and we would like to have you come around. It'll be fun. I'll be waiting, or me and my family will be waiting. So you can take the liberty of using the first person, second person. You don't have to stick to the third person formal way of inviting. You can also write dear. And let's see what are the things. You can also write name to each and everyone. You can address that. Ordinary personal letters written to relatives, friends, acquaintances. When you're writing an informal invitation, you also send it across through WhatsApp or send it across through a written letter or a printed invitation. So first and second person presentations, welcome. Personal feelings and emotions, do find an expression over here. It's been a long time that we have all met. Why not just, this can be the reason when all the family members get a chance to hang out and everything. So the language need not be much more formal like in the formal invitation, right? That's the major difference that you get to see. The date of writing is given, but the year is generally omitted whenever you're writing it. So you have written the whole thing. At the end, you might write your name, and when it was written, you can add the date of when you're writing it. The style and tone are relaxed, informal, and different tenses are used based on the needs. So I was thinking of inviting you, but then I also had work. These are the things that your informal invitation can include. So it can include different tenses, not like how in your formal letters you had to stick to the simple present tense, not required. Okay. Persuasive in nature, you want to persuade and invite them and make sure they come to your function. So it's pretty much convincing in nature, your informal letter. Sender's address appears on the left-hand side. If you're writing it in a letter format, most of the times the sender's address is on the top or at the end also. So let's see an example, shall we? So this is an example of the birthday invite. It's an informal invite. You see that there's no particular format to it. It can be designed however you would want it to be. But formal letter is very specific, and most of the formal letters are designed in that particular format only. So you know that you're welcome. Welcome is here and the date is here. So it is you being very creative. You can do things with it and you can be as creative as possible. So you know that it is a birthday party. However, all the questions should be answered. Then your kid's house, who is the kid, you can get the kid's name, and there'll be music, playground, games and everything will be there. Doors will open at 8 p.m. So there's no particular total sentence going on, the whole paragraph going on, right? So doors will open, it will start at, they have not written it will start. Or in the formal invitation, let's go back to the formal invitation and check, shall we? So please join us for high tea at 4:30 p.m. But look at the language over here in our non-formal or informal invitation. Doors will be open at 8 p.m. Kids entry fee is given. All the information has been answered. Your street, whatever the street's names you have to add. For example, if our kid's house, the kid's house, you can write Yana's house or Dilip's house or Karthik's house. You have written that. You don't have to write so-and-so university, so-and-so this thing. It's not that formal. Cordially invite you. Nothing of that sort is here. Just has written welcome. So in informal invitation, you can take the liberty to make it as creative as possible whilst you answer all the questions. In being creative, don't omit the facts that has to be included. It is a birthday party. How do I know if you've just sent an invitation and I don't know if it's a birthday party, if it's like any other ceremony, if it's a marriage, I don't know. You'll have to mention what is it about, when is it happening, where is it happening, all these 5 W's and has to be answered, okay? Where, how it is going to happen, your street, what is the location, number has to be given. See, here, nobody has asked you to RSVP or anything. If you want to know much more about it, you can give them a call. There is website that has been mentioned. There's Gmail that has been mentioned. So, there's no particular format for an informal invite. You can write it in the way you want. However, again, stressing on the fact that it should answer all the questions. What, when, where, how, who. That can also include. If you're sending it to somebody particular, you can also include that. So, moving forward, what do we have next? So, if you are to write it in a letter format. So, we saw the invitation. Invitation, if it were to be written, it can be written like that. Additionally, if you want to also keep it in mind, if you're writing an informal letter, keep that in mind. Okay, this is a letter and this is an invitation. This is how an invitation is given. Informal letter, I'd want you to know what is the difference. Don't end up writing it like this. If they've asked for an invitation is different from a letter. Okay, letter looks like this. Letter includes the sender's address, Dear Kirtan, informal, but in the letter, how do you get to know it's a letter? There is yours sincerely, name and everything, which is not there in the informal invitation. I really wanted you to know the difference between the invitation and the letter. Most of the time we confuse it. They've been writing letters ever since, okay? So it's been a long time now and you're pretty used to the letters. So this is an invitation and this is a letter. So there is Ankit Verma, whose address has been given. So we write our sender's address as we write in the formal letter. Sender's address is there. What is the difference? We can use dear and name of the person whom we are writing the letter to. Then comes, you know that it is Diwali. So you can include a lot of informal invitation. There's second person going on. You also see the first person over here gives me to invite you. Second person, my residence. So you see a lot of first person and second person presentations can be included, and a lot of informal way, in a relaxed manner. You know that Diwali is the festival of lights. You will not dare to write it in a formal invitation, will you? So, is approaching. It gives me great pleasure to invite you to Diwali celebrations at my residence, and we shall have great fun. So, you see, we shall have great fun. It is not, my friend, it's not in the simple present tense, is it? It's in the future tense. So, informal letter will be written in the combination of couple of tenses appropriately, okay? Do join us for the Puja and Diwali celebrations. Yours sincerely, Ankit Verma. It is an informal letter, again stressing out on that, and this is an informal invitation. So these two are different. Clear? Moving forward to we are still yet to do with the formal reply. How do you write a formal reply and informal reply? Mostly, you'll be asked to write an informal reply according to the CBSE board. However, keep the formal reply also in mind. You've only been given reply. So you can be asked to write a formal reply and an informal reply. So formal reply should be very short, crisp, on point. You cannot go on blabbering about how it was in the formal invitation. You reciprocate the same energy. Okay. So first you'll have to thank the person for inviting you. Then you'll have to write about whether you're accepting or declining the invitation in a polite and courteous manner, of course. Formal replies, formal tone and formal treatment. Unnecessary details, all this unnecessary and not connected to the matter, all of that has to be omitted. Then acknowledge the invitation. This is the first thing that you have to do in a formal letter. Acknowledge the invitation. Thank you for sending the invitation to me, or thank you for considering me. It gives me great pleasure, all of that. Now, but then formal invitation, you will have to keep it in the third person. I'll tell you how you can do that. Formal invitation, always third person. So formal replies, accepting or declining, you have to express thanks in third person, they instead of we. I'll show you an example of how you can do that. You have to mention whether you're accepting it or you're declining it, specify the reason for why you are doing it, address the writer and the date to be written. Whatever the writer that had written the letter or who had sent you the formal invitation, you are addressing them. Do not exceed the word limit, usually 50 words. Let's look at the example. Draft a formal reply, accepting, you are accepting it and it has been given in the invitation. An invitation to be present on the occasion of wedding of Ankush, son of Mr. and Mrs. Shankar of 24 Green Park Road, Kanpur. You are Vikram Gaur, your name is also given over here. So how do you write? Mandi, Agra. So you start the letter by saying, Mr. and Mrs. Vikram Gaur, you are the person that is writing over here. How do you write it in third person? I told you, I'll show you. This person over here who is writing the letter, thank, you are writing it as though you're writing on behalf of somebody in case of formal reply. So if it was my name, I would have written, Kshama thanks Mr. and Mrs. Shankar for inviting her on the occasion of the wedding of their son. So I'm not writing Kshama or I thank. I'm not using the first. I am not using the first person over here, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Vikram Gaur thank Mr. and Mrs. Shankar for inviting them on the occasion of the wedding of their son, Ankush so-and-so, Green Park Road, whatever that has been mentioned over there. It is very easy to write a reply, I would say, than an invitation, okay? All you have to do is pick up these things and put it in the format. Then assure them that they will be present on the occasion. You have thanked them for the opportunity. You have thanked them for the invite, and you have mentioned what is this about, that you know what is this about and you have to come for this thing. Later on, at the end, you're saying whether you will be present or whether you will be not present over there. So, a very happy married life. You have also sent a formal wish. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Gaur will reach Kanpur by Agra mail which leaves Agra at 8 a.m. Another information. So, you write your name, date and year. That is how you end a formal reply. Clear? Let's look at another example of write a formal reply expressing your inability to attend. So, you don't start with your address and everything in the formal reply. You start straight out with what is your name that has been given. Mr. and Mrs. Somesh Basu, wish. It is not we wish. It is not, you straight away write their names and you write wish to thank Mr. and Mrs. Suresh Pradhan for extending, you're thanking them to invite you. That's first part, that is done. Then to the birthday party, what is it that they have invited you to? Mention that. Wish the young boy many happy returns of the day. You also have to convey wishes. They are doing something and they thought of you. They thought of you and they invited you. That's a good thing, isn't it? So wish them, even if you're going, even if you're not going, wish them first. Then tell them whether you're coming or not. That's how your general conversation happens in a phone call as well. No? That's like the extended version of this letter. So, but regret their inability. There, it is not written regret our or regret my inability. You are written regret their inability to be present personally on account of some previous engagements. Reason is also specified. Then name, date, month and year. That's how you end a formal reply. Clear? Moving forward, informal reply. Okay, informal reply, obviously, what's the difference? It would include first person and second person. It will be, much more relaxed and, calm manner, and it will be not so formal. Okay, so acknowledge the invitation, but this is the mandatory thing. Acknowledge it. What is it that you have been invited for? Wish them, tell them if you can come or not, but in a very informal way. So first person, I and we can be used. Use second person for the sender of the invitation. You can be used. Okay, you have sent me this invitation. When you're addressing them, you can use second person. Whereas in the formal reply, you were not able to use it. You had to use their names, isn't it? Names had to be used both for the sender and the receiver. So over here, you can use I, you can use you. Mention the acceptance or regret. Specify the reason in case of if you're refusing it. Then use warm and simple language. Okay. Do not exceed the word limit as always. Moving forward, there's one invite that is sent to you, but you have to say whether you're going or not. You are Akash or Varsha. You have been invited to attend the wedding of your friend's sister. This is informal. During summer vacation, respond to the invitation, regretting your inability to attend it. Okay. So this is your sender's address is there. And you have written, Dear Neha. Okay. Dear Neha, you don't do it in case of the formal letter. In case of formal letter, thuk, 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 you are on point. And you have come there, you start with so-and-so, thanks so-and-so for the opportunity, we wish you, but we can come or cannot come, done. But over here, you see that the from address is there, and you have written, since you're extending a letter, you write, Dear Neha, thank you for your sender, you are using second person, your cordial invitation on the occasion of your sister's wedding. I, first person, however, regret my inability to be with you on this happy occasion as we shall be leaving for Shimla summer holidays. So and so date you're going, please excuse me, can't do it, I'm sorry. You can write that, okay? Do convey my regards and best wishes to the couple. Wishes, however, mandatory. Then, yours sincerely. You can also write with love, yours sincerely. Whoever is writing this particular thing, you have to write your name, okay? So, let's start with looking at notice. We looked at what a notice is, what's the format of it, what are the mandatory things that need to be included in this one. Okay, and we also saw two of the examples of notice, kinds of notice and examples of notice. Okay, here it goes. The first example that we saw, where should the date of today's date should come when I'm issuing the notice, where is the date of the event, which is over here. Okay, then we saw another example, we saw formal invitation. Formal invitation, we also saw an example of the formal invitation, did we? Here is an example of formal invitation. You might have come across many of these. It has skipped your mind sometimes, or our mind sometimes, to notice the language that is used and the way the sentence formation is, the way it has been highlighted and everything, right? So after formal letter, we saw formal invitation. We saw how to write an informal invitation. You can draft it by yourself. This is something that you've all probably might have, used a phone or something to draft or create something like this as creatively as possible. So that's a informal invitation. Then you saw, this is the letter, so difference between the letter, informal letter and invitation. And then you saw formal reply and informal reply. What's the language difference and what's the difference in the first person or the second person? For your for an informal reply, you would have used first person and second person combination of those. While you address yourself, you will use first person, and when you address other person, you might use second person. However, in the formal letter, you will have to stick to the third person. If you have any doubts, I'll solve them all in your live session, but work through the examples to get yourselves acquainted with these letters, because it is a mandatory thing. You will get 5 marks in your section B, creative writing skills, which is the first question is notice writing. The second one is formal and informal, invitation and reply. Okay. So formal invitation, keep it in mind, and informal reply. So these two things you'll have to keep it in mind. Practice and take up a lot of examples, create your own examples. Take up your college, conducting an activity, conducting some fest or something, create your own formal invitation and write informal replies as well. Practice that. On that note, I'll see you all in the next class. Thank you.